Welcome to Tech Brothers. In this video, we're going to learn how to create report from SQL Server Analysis Services Cube in Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012 R2. Along the way, when we create the report using OLAP Cube in Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012 R2, we'll learn some tips and tricks, and I'm going to go ahead and paste them here. First is more of a requirement. The cube needs to be deployed and processed. I'll show you real quick on my SQL Server that the cube is already deployed and processed, because without process the cube you cannot browse that, which other two tips and tricks really depends on that. So the second is OLAP connection tips and tricks. The reason I put OLAP connection tips and tricks is that when you create your report using Visual Studio, the connection string to the SSAS SQL Server really is empty. You have to almost type it. So most of us don't remember really the connection string, and you can make easily mistakes in there. So I'm going to show you real quick how to get that connection string going and validate that. And the other is MDX tips and tricks. If you are in BI business, you really need to know MDX. Let's say that you're really good in reports, but you don't know much about MDX. What we can do is generate MDX with a couple of options we have. One is SQL Server Profiler, and other is Pivot Table Extension, which I'll show you in a second. So let's go ahead, go to the server where you have installed Visual Studio 2010 or 2012 or 2013. So we're going to go ahead and use that and create a project, Microsoft Dynamics AX OLAP project. So here's my server. I'm going to go ahead and open up Visual Studio 2010. I'm going to go ahead, click on File, New, Project, and we're going to go ahead and use Microsoft Dynamics AX template and click on Report Model. Up here you need to name it OLAP Report Project. You can name it however you want to. You have a couple options up here. Create directory for the solution. This will create local directory for you. This will be your local repository. And other is you can go ahead and add a source control, such as, let's say that you're using TFS and you wanted to go ahead and deploy this to TFS. You can do that here, but we're gonna go ahead and work on our local repository first, and then we're gonna go ahead and deploy it in our AOT environment. So click OK. This should open up a solution for us. As you can see right here, it's creating project OLAP_report project. Alright, as you can see right here, the solution is appeared, and we can go ahead and add stuff that we need in order to create the report. The first thing that we need is a data source. Once we create the data source, we're going to go ahead and add the report, and in that particular report we're going to use that data source. So let's take a look on the properties of first right here. This is just the local repository right here that you can change if you want to. So what we're going to do is right click and click on add, and as you can see right here you have different options, report, but we're going to go ahead and add the report data source, which is analysis services data source. As you can see right here is the icon, so we're going to go ahead and click that, and our data source appear right here. So you can go ahead and rename the data source right now, SSAS data source. You don't have to put really that long name, but it's up to you however you want to rename it. So we're gonna go ahead and click on our data source and look at the some of the properties up here. As you can see, the connection string is empty at this moment, and name up here is SSA's data source, and the provider is OLAP. And let me make it a little bigger. connection string, if you look at it, you don't have an option to click and choose your SSAS server and your database and your cube, so almost you have to type that in. So this is going back to the tips and tricks that how to get the connection string real quick. So I'm going to show you real quick. Go ahead and open up Excel, click on data, connections, and click on add, and click browse for more and new data source. As soon as you click on new data source, as you can see that you have option to click to connect to OLTP, Microsoft SQL Server. You have option to connect to analysis services. You have option to connect to your ODBC connection if you have up there the data access up here. So we're going to go ahead and click on Microsoft SQL Server Analysis Services and connect with that. Click next, and server name. This is your SSAS server name. In my case, it's Tech Brothers SQL / SQL PROD. And you have, if you have a SQL Server user, you can put username and password here. We're going to go ahead and click next. And up here, all the databases, once it's connected, it's going to give you all the databases that's already on SQL Server. This is the first step that I was telling you about, that it needs to be deployed on SSAS before we can start creating the reports. So this is the demo cube _ customer initial. This is the cube that we're going to use in this demo. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. Click next, and this is our demo cube right here. Alright, we're going to go ahead and we can friendly name right here SSAS connection. So we're going to go ahead and finish. Once you finish that SSAS connection, you can go ahead and click on properties and go to definition, and right here is the string that's we're going to use. This is an easy way to create the string connection, and this is one of the tips and tricks. So we're going to go ahead and copy this. We're going to cancel this, close this, all of it. We don't want to save it, and we're going to go ahead and paste it right here. So this is our string. Our source is SQL Server Analysis Services. Initial catalog is demo cube _ customer initial, and our cube up here, if you go, it would be our demo cube. So you can go ahead and fill other properties if you want to, namespace and all that, but we're going to go ahead and save this data source, and later on when we add the report, we're going to use this particular data source. So we're going to go ahead and save all. Alright, so we're going to go ahead, go back to our project. Let me make it a little smaller though. Right click, click on add, and then report. As you can see, the report is added in this particular solution. So we're going to go ahead and rename the report. So this is my report name, Analysis Services Report Demo. And if you click on that report right here, as you can see, the name of the report is right here, and the default parameter is this, the parameters. You can look at different options as well. So we're going to go ahead and click the report right here. So these are the options of the report that we just added in our solution. So we're going to go ahead and click on dataset right here, and right click on this dataset and create add dataset. So we're going to go ahead and name the dataset analysis DS. This is our dataset name. So when you click on the dataset, as you can see right here, the data source is Dynamics AX, and up here is data type is query, and right here, as you can see that if you click on right here, the analysis data source, and right here is Dynamics AX, but we don't want to do that. We wanted to actually, we have created our data source on our own, connected with analysis services. So we're going to go ahead and click on this and click on SSAS data source right here, SSAD data source. So we're going to go ahead and use that, and up here the query, click on that. As you can see, this query, you don't have really an option to create query. So this is our second tips and tricks. If you don't know MDX, if you know MDX, you can type it right here and it's much easier for you. If you already have the MDX, you can copy paste. Let's say that I'm not good in writing MDX, but I'm good in browsing Cube. So we have two options now. One is we will use a SQL Server Profiler. We will connect to our analysis services database, and then we will browse the Cube and get the MDX expressions from there and paste it here. The second, I'll show you in a second too, using the pivot table extension, that you have to install the pivot table extension, which I'll show you that you can download it from internet, and it's a 32-bit Excel, so you need to download 32-bit pivot table extension from the internet, and you can install it where your Excel is, and then you can go ahead and use Excel and browse the data from that particular cube, and click on MDX, and it'll give you the MDX, and you can copy and paste that here. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and first I'm gonna show you how to use SQL Server Profiler to do that. Here's my SQL Server right here, and here's my profiler. I'm going to stop this and basically close this, just so that we can start it from the beginning. So this is my management studio. I'm going to go ahead and connect with analysis services right here. This is my analysis services, as you can see from the string as well, what we created. So we're going to go ahead and use this and click connect. These are the databases right here. This is the database that we wanted to use. If we expand that database right here, we will see the cube. Let me make it a little bigger. This is the cube. So this cube is processed. If your cube is not processed, it's not going to let you browse that. If you get an error that it cannot be browsed, it needs to be processed, you can right click and click on process the cube, and process should finish successfully, and then after that you can go ahead and click on browse. So we're gonna go ahead and click on browse. The browse option right here is just exactly a GUI version of your reports. You have all the filters right here, just like you would put in your report. You have parameters if you wanted to put the parameters right here in the reports, and we can up here you have measures, you have all the dimensions right here, and we're gonna select the measures right here, and amount. These are our measures that we wanted to actually look at. Right now I don't have data, it's not showing any data because I don't have Contoso data uploaded. So mostly we're gonna work just with the schema only in this demo. Don't worry about the data, but if you are working for an organization, you will see a lot of data up here and it'll look much prettier than this. So we're gonna go ahead, we just added the measures. We're gonna go ahead and add some of the dimensions attributes. So we're gonna go ahead and customer count. We're gonna go ahead and do the date, and we're gonna go ahead and do the customer transaction right here. So if you see that this will show us the report as far as this browsing goes, and back behind the scene you go ahead and click on your SQL Server Profiler. You can go ahead and basically make your reports just like this. Once you're done, you can go ahead and open SQL Server Profiler and connect with analysis services. You don't have to do filtering, but if this cube is being used by a lot of users, you might want to use event selection and use that particular user that you're connected to. So we're going to go ahead and run in this case. Alright, so our SQL Server Profiler is running, So we're going to go ahead, and this is our report. Up here, if you see, execute the query, and we're going to go ahead and execute the query. And notice right here, the SQL Server has captured that query. This is MDX expression right here. So you can copy these and paste it in your query when you're doing the report. And this is one way, as I was telling you, to get the MDX expression from the SQL Server Profiler. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that, and I'm going to show you the other method. So we're going to go back to our server. This is my Dynamics server. So we're going to go ahead and open up Excel. Since we already created really the mostly the connections, but if you haven't created the connection, you can create the connection as I showed you earlier. But we're going to go ahead and use existing connection, and up here is the connection. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. It is going to give us all the browsing right here, and we're going to go ahead and click amount, settle amount, customer transaction, and we're going to go ahead and customer account, just like we did in Management Studio when we browsed. And we're going to go ahead and do the customer name up here, customer account. We wanted to do that. We wanted to do the date and customer transaction. Let's say these are the attributes I'm looking for in my particular report. So you're done right here. Click on this, and then click on, right click on the where it's showed your attributes and your measures. You're going to go ahead and right click that, and you will see right here it says OLAP pivot table extension. Keep in mind that this OLAP pivot table extension is not there by default on Excel. You have to install OLAP pivot table extension. You can go on internet and basically just search for MDX generator and with the Excel, and it should show up, and you can download. If your Excel is 64-bit, you can download the 64-bit extension, and if you have 32-bit, in my case it's 32-bit Excel, so I'm going to go ahead and I went ahead and did the 32-bit version. Once I installed it, it gave me option OLAP pivot table extension. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. As you can see right here, there are tabs, calculations, library, MDX, search, filter, default, about. So we're going to go ahead and click on MDX. And here is our MDX. It did all that for us. We're going to go ahead and copy this MDX, Control C. If your right click wouldn't work, you can go ahead and do the Control C. So this is the MDX basically we're going to use in this demo as far as our report goes. So we're going to go ahead and paste it right here. As you can see, this is our MDX, and once you paste it, you can go ahead and execute it. Make sure that it executes without errors. So as you can see that it executed. Right now it's not showing any data because again I do not have Contoso data uploaded. I don't have any data in my cube. So basically this is just to how to create a report off of a cube. Right now I'm not really caring about the showing up the data. So we're gonna go ahead and click OK. As soon as you will click OK in this query, you can go ahead and look at the fields. These are the fields that it showed up. Alright, so next thing, as far as the designing of the report goes, you can go ahead and move this up here on the design piece, your data set, and you can do all kind of designing on this particular table. If you wanted to do a particular data set that we ran after MDX, you can do the grouping, you can do the sorting, you can do the filter, and up here is your data. Right here, the data fields. You can do the, if you wanted to do like amount, you can move this amount to the grouping and it'll do group by amount. Design right here, this is very simple design. As far as I said, that designing is up to you, that however you wanted to design that. So what we're gonna go ahead and do, we're gonna go ahead and deploy this project, after deploying the project, we're gonna go in AOT and see if that particular report is there. And once we see that over there, we're gonna go ahead and deploy that from AOT to our SQL Server. So we're gonna go ahead and right click and deploy. It's gonna go ahead and deploy the whole project, including the report, and then we're gonna go ahead, right click, and add it to our AOT. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and add this to our AOT, add OLAP_report project to AOT. Alright, we're done. So let's go in our AOT environment and see if that report is there. So we're going to right click and refresh it. So our report should be basically in bold. It should be SSAS, so it should be an S right here. As you can see, this is our report right here. We're gonna go and look at if data source is there, so we're gonna keep going up here, and our data source SSAS D data source is also in our AOT. So we're gonna go ahead and deploy our report and go ahead and deploy the element of our report, and we're gonna go ahead and then look at on our SQL Server and browse the report from there. Again, once we do that, this is not going to show any data as far as the data of the report goes, because I don't have data. I keep saying that. I just wanted to make sure that you don't look for the data and say that it doesn't look pretty. My main focus is to show you that how you can create a report from analysis services data source rather than SQL. I do have another demo that I put out there, that how to create reports from SQL Server from OLTP using in Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012. So we're gonna go and look on our report server. We're gonna go ahead, and this is my SQL Server report. So we're gonna go ahead, and Dynamics AX is our data source. We're gonna go ahead and detailed view, and as you can see right here, SSASD data source is right there, and here is our report, SSAS report underscore demo dot the design. And design piece, I did not really rename that. I should have renamed maybe report or something, but I'm gonna go ahead and open this. As you can see, the report is running right now, no data, and up here is my DAT partition, and here is my company account data, and if I would have data right here, it would have shown everything in this preview. So this is basically how you create report using analysis services in Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012. I hope this helps.